Okay, so today we're going deep on something I know a lot of people have probably experienced, and it can be really frustrating.
Yeah.
Ghost jobs.
Yeah, ghost jobs for sure.
You sent over this really interesting podcast called Ghost Jobs, the scam behind fake hiring postings.
Right.
And it just got me thinking about,
hmm
how many people are out there and they're going through this whole process, and it's just kind of
Ugh, it's awful.
a black hole.
It's so demoralizing.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into like what they are, why they even exist,
Yeah.
and how to spot them, and hopefully not fall into that trap.
I think that's so important because I think a lot of folks out there have felt this.
Yeah.
I've even felt it myself where you put so much energy into, like really getting your resume
Oh, yeah.
tweaked and perfect and writing a really thoughtful cover letter. And then you go through multiple rounds of interviews and then
Smallins.
nothing. And you're like, what's going on? And then like 6 months later, you see the same job posting
Still there.
still there.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, what happened?
Yeah, it is. It's like a ghost.
Yeah.
It really is like a phantom job posting.
Totally. I mean, the podcast even said that phantom postings haunting job boards everywhere.
Oh, that's so good.
It's so true.
Yeah, and like you said, it can be so demoralizing. You're putting in all this effort,
All this energy.
you're getting your hopes up,
Yes, and your time.
and then nothing.
And potentially even turning down other opportunities because you're like, oh, I'm really hoping for this one. And then it just doesn't pan out.
Yeah, and it just kind of makes you question like the whole process.
Totally.
Like, is this even worth it?
Right. And that's why we wanted to do this deep dive.
Yeah.
To kind of help people understand this phenomenon, whether they're actively looking for a new role
Mm-hmm.
or just kind of curious about the job market. It's good to know these pitfalls
Yeah, definitely.
so you can kind of navigate it.
Okay, so when we say ghost jobs, what exactly are we talking about here?
So in a nutshell, according to the podcast, a ghost job is basically a job posting for a position that a company isn't actually planning to fill.
Really?
It's advertising a vacancy when there's no real intention to hire anyone.
So it's not just like a slow hiring process or,
No.
they change their mind.
Yeah.
It's literally they're putting it out there and they know.
They know.
They're not going to fill it.
Well, there are a few reasons why they might do that.
Okay, so why would a company do that? What's the point?
So the podcast highlighted a few reasons.
Okay.
One of the biggest ones is resume collection.
Okay.
So companies might post these roles just to kind of gather a bunch of resumes,
Oh, wow.
build a database of potential candidates for future roles, even if they're not sure what those roles are going to be yet.
So you could be putting your heart and soul into this application and then
Right.
they're just in a pile.
Yeah, you're just a number in their system for some future unknown role.
That is so
It's a little disheartening,
disheartening.
but it does kind of explain why some companies seem to have like perpetually open roles. They're just collecting resumes.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so what else?
Another reason is the perception of growth.
Okay.
So companies might want to project an image of success and expansion,
Yeah.
maybe to impress investors, or if they're applying for loans,
No.
they might say, look at all these roles we're hiring for. We're booming,
Wow.
even if they're not actually filling those roles.
Yeah, it's like a
It's kind of misleading.
it's a marketing ploy.
It is.
Yeah.
And it can erode trust with potential candidates
Yeah.
and even with investors who see through it.
Right, if they catch on.
Exactly.
Okay, so then what about, sometimes you're already at a company and they post jobs.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a ghost job or is that something else?
Well, the podcast actually talked about that.
Okay.
They said that sometimes companies use ghost job postings as a retention tactic.
What?
Yeah, they try to make their current employees think that help is on the way,
Oh my gosh.
that the company is growing, and, maybe you shouldn't quit because
Oh.
reinforcements are coming.
So they're dangling this fake carrot.
Exactly.
And that's so manipulative.
It is. And, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
help is not coming.
Oh my gosh.
So it can actually backfire
Right.
because if employees realize that those roles never get filled,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be even more cynical.
And they're going to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then is there anything else that companies are doing this for?
Well, the podcast also mentioned data mining.
Okay.
So companies might be using these postings to gather information about salary expectations.
Interesting.
What kind of skills are out there,
Mhm.
maybe even to build marketing lists.
Oh, wow. So they're kind of just like
Yeah,
pulling data from people.
kind of scooping up information.
That's so sneaky.
It's not very transparent.
No. Okay, so it sounds like there are a lot of not so great reasons.
There are.
for these ghost jobs.
Yeah.
But I know that, the podcast you shared also had some real stories from
Yeah.
people who have actually experienced this.
Absolutely.
So tell me about some of those.
Yeah, so one story that really stood out was about Sarah.
Okay.
She applied for a marketing guru position,
Okay.
went through 3 rounds of interviews,
Wow.
and then
Ow.
crickets, nothing.
Oh, gosh.
And 6 months later, the job posting was still up.
Oh, no.
So you can imagine how frustrating that was.
Yeah. You're just like hanging.
Totally in limbo.
Yeah.
And you start to doubt yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Like, was it me? Did I do something wrong?
Yeah. Was my resume bad?
Exactly.
Oh,
And then there was Mike.
okay.
He put a lot of effort into tailoring his resume and cover letter for a specific role, only to find out later that the position had already been filled internally.
Oh, that's the worst.
So frustrating.
Like, why even post it?
Right. It makes you question the whole process.
Totally.
And these stories really highlight the emotional toll of ghost jobs.
Yeah.
It's not just wasted time.
Right.
It's that feeling of rejection and uncertainty.
Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. You start to question your skills,
Yeah.
your experience.
Your worth.
Yeah, it can really damage your confidence.
Especially when you're already,
Yes.
feeling vulnerable.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so we know that these ghost jobs are out there.
Right.
They're common.
Mm-hmm.
They're frustrating.
Yes.
What can we do? What are some red flags that we can look for?
Okay, so the podcast had some really good advice here.
Okay.
One of the biggest red flags is vague job descriptions.
Okay.
So if a job posting is really lacking in specific details about the responsibilities, the required skills, the team structure,
Yeah.
be wary.
Be suspicious.
Exactly, like if it's just looking for a rock star ninja unicorn.
Oh my gosh.
Run for the hills.
Yeah.
A real job should have a real job description.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Another red flag is repeated reposting.
Okay.
If you see the same job posting over and over again,
Pop up
yeah, for months on end,
over and over.
it's probably a ghost job. They're not really filling it.
Uh.
And the podcast had a great tip. Use archive websites
Oh.
to track the history of postings.
Wow. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
That's so smart. Okay.
Another thing to watch out for is the absence of a salary range.
Okay.
Most legitimate job postings will at least give you a range.
Yeah.
So if there's no salary information at all, it could be a red flag.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got vague job descriptions, repeated postings,
Mm-hmm.
no salary information.
Yeah.
What about looking into the company itself?
Yes, absolutely.
Like, should we be doing that?
The podcast really emphasized checking company reviews,
Okay.
especially on sites like Glassdoor.
Mm-hmm.
Look for reviews that mention endless interviews but no hires,
Okay.
or a lack of communication after interviews.
Oh,
If you see a pattern of those complaints,
red flag.
a major red flag is probably a ghost town.
Ghost town. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely do your research on the company as well.
Okay, so we're doing our due diligence. We're looking at the postings themselves. We're looking into the company.
Yes.
Are there any, proactive steps we can take?
The podcast had a couple of suggestions.
Okay.
One is to reach out to current employees on LinkedIn,
Okay.
maybe someone in a similar role or in HR,
Mm-hmm.
and just politely inquire about the position.
So just, send them a message?
Yeah, a quick message,
Yeah.
just to see if it's actually being filled.
So you're kind of going around the job posting.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
The other suggestion was to actually apply for the job,
Okay.
but then follow up with HR
Okay.
and specifically ask if the position is actively being hired for,
Oh.
what the timeline looks like.
It's interesting.
If they ghost you after that,
Yeah.
the pretty sure sign is a ghost job.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're putting them on the spot.
You are.
All right,
A
so
little bold,
Hello.
but it might give you the information you need.
I like it. Okay, so the podcast also had this interview with someone they called an HR insider
Right.
named Dana.
Yeah, Dana.
What did Dana have to say?
So Dana emphasized the pressure that companies feel to demonstrate growth,
Okay.
which can lead to managers posting jobs just to kind of explore the market.
So not necessarily to be sneaky,
Not always.
but just to see what's out there.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So it might not always be malicious,
Okay.
but it's still problematic.
Yeah, because it's still wasting people's time.
Exactly.
Okay, and Dana had a specific question
Yeah.
that we should be asking.
She said job seekers should ask, is this role budget approved?
Oh, wow.
That's a great way to gauge how serious they are about filling the position.
Yeah, because if they're hesitant or they avoid the question,
Red flag.
red flag. So it's
But-
like a good litmus test.
Exactly.
Okay, now I have to ask this because
Yeah. Now what you're going to ask?
I know a lot of people think about this.
Mm.
Should you confront a company
Ooh, good question.
that ghosts you?
That is the question.
What did the podcast say?
So they gave a couple of options. One was a more direct approach.
Okay.
Like you could say, hey, I'm withdrawing my application since you're clearly not serious about filling this role.
Yeah, I could see that.
You know, that's a way to kind of make a statement.
Yeah.
But it might burn bridges.
Yeah.
So it depends on your comfort level.
Yeah, if you're really mad and you're just like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
I'm out.
Yeah.
The other option was a little more humorous.
Okay.
Like you could say, thanks for the ghosting practice.
Yeah.
My Casper impression is now flawless.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a little tongue-in-cheek,
Yeah.
but it acknowledges the situation without necessarily burning any bridges,
Right. You're keeping it light.
keeping it light.
Okay, so those are our options.
Yeah.
Direct or funny.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know what ghost jobs are. We know why they exist. We know how to spot them.
Right.
We know how to respond.
Yeah.
What are some overall strategies that we can use to just protect ourselves?
So the podcast really emphasized a few key things.
Okay.
First, don't let ghost jobs consume your entire job search.
Okay.
Focus on the applications that seem legitimate.
Right.
Use the red flags we talked about.
Yeah.
And stay organized.
Mm-hmm.
Track your applications.
Stay on top of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another really important thing is networking.
Okay.
Building relationships can open so many doors.
Mm-hmm.
You might hear about jobs that aren't even posted publicly.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah,
It's all about who you know.
it really is.
Okay, so network.
Network, network, network.
And then what about just taking care of ourselves?
Yes, self-care is crucial.
Because this is a stressful process.
It is.
And it's easy to get down on yourself.
Absolutely.
So what did they suggest?
Acknowledge the frustration.
Okay.
Don't bottle it up.
Mm-hmm.
And find healthy ways to manage stress.
Right.
You know, maybe blast the Ghostbusters theme song.
Oh, yeah.
And some ice cream.
There you go.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever makes you feel better. Okay, so it sounds like the main takeaway here is just to be informed,
Yes.
be proactive,
Mm,
and take care of yourself.
exactly.
Don't let the ghosts get you down.
Don't let them win.
Yeah. So what are your final thoughts for our listeners today?
Well, I think the big question is, why do these ghost jobs even exist in the first place?
Yeah.
Like in this day and age with so much information available,
Right.
why are companies still using these deceptive practices?
Yeah.
What can we do as a society to make the hiring process more transparent,
That's a great question.
more accountable,
Yeah.
more respectful of job seekers' time and energy?
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. All right. Well, thanks for diving deep with us today.
Of course, it was fun.
And we'll see you next